Hello, everybody. My name is Genevieve Bohach, and I'm a member of the Supporting Transformative Autism Research Initiative at the University of Virginia. I am here today with Jess Walters. How are you doing today, Jess?
I'm doing well, Genevieve. Thank you.
I'm here today with Brendan Oakes. How are you doing today, Brendan?
Good.
Good. That's great. So, Brendan, jumping into things, can you tell us a little bit about your experience with autism?
My experience with autism is I was diagnosed with it when I was 13, and so which was way back in the early 2000s. And from then, I've been getting help with it, and went to a school for that had a program, also that had a program with autism. So I've been around a lot of people who has autism, and so just living with autism and being around other people that has autism has been my experience.
So, Jess, can you tell us a little bit about your experience with autism?
I'm late diagnosed. I actually just found out that I was autistic 2 years ago, like right when the pandemic hit. I started to experience symptoms of burnout, which I'm starting to find out is kind of common for people with my background, I guess. And I started asking some questions, and I was able to get an evaluation. And I'm multiply neurodivergent. Autism is just one aspect of the things that's thrown up in the mix. But it's been a wild ride, a bit of a journey. I feel like I'm still learning a lot.
So you shared that you were diagnosed quite a while ago. So what have been some of the common misconceptions about autism that you've experienced?
The big one that I have seen throughout the years, that all autism live with their parents and can hold a job or hold a good job in the corporate world or and have to be taken care of almost all the time and can do stuff on their own.
Right, and that's not the case with you. You've had the same job for a long time.
Yep. The same job. I live on my own.
Yep.
Everything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are some of the common misconceptions about autism that you have experienced?
A lot. So I actually have a degree in psychology from the University of Virginia, and I can tell you that when I was studying autism in school, it's all the data was on males. It seems to be that's a myth because I identify as non-binary, but I was assigned female at birth, and so there's all these stories now of these late diagnosed people who identify as female or who are assigned female at birth, like myself, and it's just fascinating how skewed some of the information seems to be. I think that the spectrum isn't understood to be a spectrum. I think that the earlier, especially understandings of autism are kind of limited in by putting limitations on the definition. Mm-hmm. And I think that I forget who said the quote, but it was a famous autistic person, and he said that if you've met a person with autism, you've met a person with autism. And I wish that I think that the myth is that there is one type of autism.
So what have been some of the positive aspects of having autism?
The big one, one of the big one is that I see the world in a different way. I see that bigger picture, and I can see, I can spit out different, I remember details about something that I did a long time ago that my parents don't even remember at all, or even my friends don't even remember, that may have happened a year ago, 2 years ago, even. And then I keep that in my memory. And which helps me in the job, because if I remember something that happened a year ago that happened in my job site, job that none of my employees remember, I remember that more clearly than others, and I can just help that with if they ever need needed that information like in a year.
Right. It's like a superpower. I wish I had that superpower.
Yep.
So what have been some of the positive aspects of being diagnosed with autism?
It was a huge relief for me. Like I remember growing up and when I was a student and as a young adult and a teenager, I always felt alien and out of place and like I was weird and not fitting in. And the diagnosis kind of gave me validation for existing the way that I do, for thinking the way that I do, for reacting the way that I do, for expressing and experiencing the world the way that I do. It like even though everybody who has autism has or is identified as autistic is different, like unique, there's a sameness in that neurodivergent experience, and knowing that you're not alone is kind of everything.
Yeah, it always feels great to know that other people are going through something similar. Maybe not exactly the same, but similar.
Yeah.
What would you like other people to know about being an individual with autism?
That it's hard. It's hard, but it's not hard to a point that I can't live on my own and can't do stuff like regular people do. I may take me a little longer. May take me a little longer to do stuff, and it may take me a little longer to get used to what I'm supposed to do. Like at work, it may take me a little bit to do it, but I still can do it on the same level as other people. It just may take me like a couple days longer to get situated at a new job or a new place, or and doing whatever. Or I may just need some extra help doing it, but I can still do it at the level that people at the same level of normal people at the same level I am in the job and others.
That's great. So you should get the same opportunities and chances as any neurotypical person because you
Yep.
can do it. You just might need a little extra time. I
Yep.
love that perspective. Autism Acceptance Month is coming up in April. What does this month mean to you?
I feel conflicted about Autism Acceptance Month. I mean, there's a lot of different sides to the story. There's a lot of different like hands in the pot, if you will. And I think that I am excited to listen to autistic voices this month. I am not the biggest fan of other people speaking for and about us. I don't like seeing puzzle pieces and like hullabaloo, and don't come at me with anything related to Autism Speaks, please.
I won't, I promise.
There's a lot going on, and I think especially this year and right now, I think the pandemic has taught us a lot about people with disabilities and being able to connect virtually and like kind of like accessibility and accommodations that we can use to like become closer together, to become more connected. But also, with the recent Oscar win with the deaf community, and like we just had an interpreter installed in the White House, and like these are things that are changing for people who have different ways of communicating. And I think that with autism and sign language, there's a bit of an overlap, and I think we're starting to shift into this place where we're embracing intersectionality more. And I'm excited for that, like for this Autism Acceptance Month this year. Like I'm excited to see the voices of the people that I watch talk about intersectionality and talk about the work that still needs to be done to embrace those people that don't have the platform or the space where their voice is respected.
Right. I think you bring up a good point that there's some positives and negatives to having a month dedicated to whatever is going on. So I think you bring up some really good points about that. So April is Autism Acceptance Month. What does this month mean to you?
It's a month that I get to show myself, and other people with autism get to show themselves, and other people can see that what accomplished we've done and what accomplished autistic people have done, and how they have they changed the world. And it's just a month to like show that we are still the same as everyone else, and we have still achieved the same as everyone else. And that most people don't know or see a lot of the time.
Yeah, the world certainly is a better place with everyone being so different.
Yep.
So what are your recommendations for making our community a more inclusive place for neurodiverse individuals?
I would really like to see more neurodiverse individuals in leadership positions in our community. I think especially I feel like in a lot of DEI stuff, I feel like neurodiversity is kind of an afterthought, like disability in general is kind of an afterthought. And I'd like to see improvements in just representation. Like I don't want to just be like the voice that gives you my response on a survey. I want to be the person calling the shots, or not me, but some like another person that like represents the population. Like I feel like with people like who have, you know, different needs and different approaches and different perspectives, when you put these people in leadership, things change. And like I think it becomes more open, more accommodating for everyone. If you think about the person that has the greatest need and you try to meet that need, it opens doors all the way down, you know, like it has a domino effect. And I consider myself to be a disability justice advocate. And so when I come into spaces, I tend to advocate for things like closed captions. I tend to advocate for things like, you know, have an interpreter present, do you have accessibility like in a physical space? Like I'd like to see sensory rooms on grounds, you know, like I think, you know, having been a student at University of Virginia, like I personally can tell you, like in hindsight, all the things that I know would have helped me in that environment. I think academia has a long way to go in terms of being accessible to people like me. But I think that, you know, just on a community level, again, I'll just keep saying, stay curious, you know, like don't be shocked when somebody hands you a phone to text communicate with you. You know, don't show disgust or distaste when somebody gestures at you with sign language or hands you an iPad. Like learn basic things about like what does alternative communication look like. You know, just learn how autistic people, like read our stories, you know, like we write stuff, we make TV, like we're producers, I'm an artist. Like I think just being open to including us, engaging with us, inviting us into the room.
I love that perspective, and I'd love to see your art. You had to send me some. What would be some recommendations to make our community a more inclusive place for individuals with autism or neurodiverse people?
For jobs and for like companies to like be more accepting and more patient with, and even outside of job to be more patient and give us time. Like it may take us a while to feel included, or to not be nervous enough in like social situations, and even at a job. And it just may take us a little longer to do stuff in the job. So get patient and just let us take our time and don't rush stuff,
Right.
and put everything on a plate too fast.
Absolutely. And that's good for anybody starting something new.
Yeah.
Sure. So what is your recommendation for someone who's maybe an adult who is just starting this journey? They've always felt different. What are your recommendations for them?
Honestly, I found I felt I had the freest space to like quietly explore myself on Instagram. Like there's a really vast community of people on Instagram that identify as autistic on all different levels of the spectrum. Some of them are just, the personal accounts where they just share their daily experience. Other people are like actual like advocates and they're like out there doing the work and pushing for change and they share that. And other people are just, living life but making a point to write about it and share it. And some of them have Patreon accounts where you can like send them money and stuff like that. But I kept looking for experiences, and really the way that I started questioning it is I started seeing my experience reflected in other people. And I think Instagram was the place where, people kind of show a version of themselves, and I just found myself identifying in that way. There's a lot of resources out there, but I think on Instagram specifically, it became sort of unquestionable to me. Like I self-identified long before I had the actual test done to tell me like, yes, you're actually autistic. And I self-identified because I saw so much of myself reflected in other autistic experiences.
Yeah, that's a really great recommendation. The internet is a vast resource. So what are your recommendations for somebody, an individual or a family just starting this journey with autism?
To look up on social media and stuff. A lot of people on social media have a lot of information. Like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube is another good one. TikTok becoming another big one with communities in it. And get perspective of other people with autism. They know how to deal with it because they've gone through it. And then reach out to your community because your community may have all different resources. And if you have a local college, they may even have a good resource that can help you find other people to help you through the process and through the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. There are tons of resources out there, including, and I know you know this, the Autism Research Initiative at UVA has the Autism Drive.
Yeah.
So that's a great resource for everybody looking for places to start on this journey. I sure do appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, so I really appreciate your taking the time to speak with us this afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
All right, thank you.
Well, I really thank you. I'll do this. Thank you, since I've been seeing you signing. I love it. So thank you so much for your time today. I know you're super busy. And we look forward to working with you in the future on all of our upcoming projects at STAR. You're a great, wonderful addition to our community.
Yay. Thank you for the meeting with me today, Genevieve. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Jess.